Gurmeet ma'am, good evening.
Good evening, good evening.
Actually, our technical person is not able to join today because there is some problem with her WebEx. So I am there with you, and I know that
Thank
we.
you so very much.
Thank you, thank you. Yes, so we will start. It is already 1 past 4, so I
Yes,
think we can start the training.
done. Thank you once again, Subhoshri ma'am. Uh,
Thank you.
I'm Gurmeet Kaur, Principal, Animal Kerala Public School, Jamshedpur, and representing Jamshedpur Sahodya. Today, we are going to understand the 21st century skills. Most of you would be knowing a lot about this 21st century skills. Uh, can we quickly have these skills, whatever you feel are important for the 21st century? Would you like to share it in the chat box, please? What do you think are these 21st century skills? I'm waiting. Communication skills, smartness, digitally awareness, cope up with the stress, computer savvy, creativity, digital. Once again, somebody's little not audible. I hope I'm audible because I think everybody's able to.
Gurmeet ma'am, you are clearly audible.
Yeah, so maybe some issue with that person. So please check your system and the sound system. Yeah, I am getting a lot of responses. Techno savvy, digital skill, inclusion, competitive learning, smart, creativity, collaboration. Very good. So it's like a lot of whatever you're writing, you're absolutely bang on. You are talking about the 21st century skills which are required for each and every student to succeed in life. Is yeah. So what do these students need to learn more? And how are our learners now learning? Today's learners are very different than what we were. The way they think now, you can be very sure that they don't think the same manner in which we used to think when we were kids. And why not? Because they are digitally advanced. Ever since they are born, they know how to operate the mobile, and they are far ahead as far as technology is concerned. So the way they process the information, the way they think is way beyond how we would be thinking. It is very different. So, since it is different, it's very important for us to know what is actually required, the skills which are required for them to be successful in life. There's some problem. The PPT is not moving fast. So basically, in the 21st century, what we want to see in our kids are that they are conventionally and digitally literate. Most of you spoke about digital literacy. And when I asked you, many of you mentioned that in your chat box. Plus, we want them to be independent. They should also work in team. They should be problem solvers, creative. These are few of the aspects that comes to our mind when we think of 21st century skills. Now, to ensure that the children are aware of these 21st century skills, not exactly as the skills, but how to implement it. So what does it actually mean? So it means that the broad set of knowledge, skills, work habits, and characteristics traits that the educators need to ensure that we are able to imbibe in our children so that they succeed in life. That's what we actually mean by the 21st century skills. Now, before we tell the children what is actually required in them, what should be the characteristics of a 21st century teacher? We as teachers, we should be first be ready to adapt. And let me tell you, we are all adapters. The way we have adapted during the COVID, overnight when we moved from chalk and board to PowerPoints and Google Meet and Zoom Meet, the way and at the speed at which we all teachers have evolved and adapted our teaching methodologies, I think this is one remarkable example of how flexible we are and how quick we are to learn something new. They need to be communicators, learners, visionary leaders. And what we tell our children, we have to model ourselves and ensure that we ourselves collaborate in the work that we do. So, what are 21st century skills? Broadly, it is divided into three segments: the learning skills, the literacy skills, and the life skills. There are three categories of 21st century skills. The learning skills can be remembered as 4 C's. I'll talk in detail what are these 4 C's. Literacy skills, which can be remembered as IMT, and life skills, which can be remembered as FLIPS. So these are short forms to remember. And if somebody asks you what are 21st century skills, this is an easily reckoner. The moment you know that the 21st century skills are divided into three categories: learning skills, literacy skills, life skills, and further, what are learning skills? 4 C's, literacy skills, IMT, and life skills, FLIPS. So let's see what are these, right? This is what I told you. These are main three categories: learning skills, literacy skills, and life skills. Now, what are learning skills? The 4 C's. The 4 C's are critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, and communication. These are 4 C's which represent the learning skills. I will deal in detail, especially these 4 C's, and how we can ensure that the students have these skills. The literacy skills, which talks about the information literacy, media literacy, and technology literacy. This is again a very important component of the 21st century skills. And lastly, the life skills. There are 5 life skills which revolves around flexibility, leadership, initiative, productivity, and social skills. So overall, you can say that there are total 12 skills which we can term it as 21st century skills. So all these 12 skills are required in a child to be successful in life. Going in depth, starting with the learning skills. I told you these are 4 C's. Okay, so learning skills, basically it would teach the students about the mental process required to adapt and improve upon a work environment. The child will know how to adapt and improve, both the things which the child should know and should possess the required skill, so that the child is able to adjust in whatever environment we are thrown at. COVID was a live example how we adopted, we adapted because we knew what are the skills required, and not only we, even the children did the same along with us. So, what critical thinking basically finding a solution to a problem, not just that, this is just a one liner. How, if there's a problem, what's the solution? So, we need to think critically to find it. Creativity, basically thinking out of the box, something which doesn't come very naturally, but if you give little focus to that particular concern, the area, the issue, and think beyond, you'll get an answer to that. Collaboration, working with others. You cannot work in isolation. It has to be a teamwork. Nobody can live in isolation and nobody can work in isolation. So it has to be in collaboration and communication, an important tool. You fail to communicate the best of your idea and it fails. So it's very important that all the 4 C's are imbibed in our children. Now, what actually is critical thinking? When we have some information, so we understand what is that information and we analyze it, we evaluate, make decisions based on our evaluation, and then solve the problem. I'll give you a little example of it. Look at this picture. Suppose this is what we do with the children, okay? So look at this picture. Can you guess from which place this picture is? You can write down in the chat box. Can you guess from which place this picture is? Himachal, somebody has written. Jammu, Ladakh, Uttarakhand. Okay, I'll give you a hint. It's not in India. Himachal, Mongolia, okay, America, no. Ladakh, Bihar, no. I give you another hint. It ends with Stan. Tibet, no. Nepal, okay, no. France, no. Rajasthan, no. It's not in India and it ends with Stan. No. Okay, I'm getting a lot of answers. Switzerland. Okay, Afghanistan. Okay, somebody wrote Afghanistan. Who wrote? Niranjan Kumar. Okay, Mr. Niranjan, you're absolutely correct. This is the picture from Afghanistan. Now, what are they doing? Can somebody say what are they actually doing? Somebody written tourist doing survey. Okay, rearing, bull sharing, rearing, clicking the picture. Okay, fantastic. So it seems like they're taking selfie, capturing pictures. Fantastic. So you can visualize that they are clicking pictures or they're taking selfies. Okay, I'll give you another clue about this question, this photograph. Sorry, that they can click pictures and they can also make video. way. So this is how what happens. First of all, you brought them inside the class. After you showed them the picture, you developed the critical thinking abilities when you ask such questions. So this is how you can take up any picture and you can ask questions and you will get the answers on your own. The children will give you the answers. So some more activities which you can do, which would be based on critical thinking, is adla badli or impromptu debate. You give a debate topic, everything is set, and on the day of the debate, you say, okay, the person who's going to speak for will speak against, and the person who's going to speak against will speak for. So now they are confused. They may not like it also because they were prepared for something else, right? They were prepared for the topic. Now you're saying you do it against the topic. So, but then it will suddenly give them the idea, okay, now that I'm going to speak something else, what do I do? So something like this. Again, Golmaal again asking riddles. Ask yourself any questions which you can give in. Gap filling is again, you have a story and in between you have a little gap over there. So how do they fill the gap? So they will think about what was the beginning of the story, what is the ending of the story, and then what should be done to fill the gap over there. So this how is the critical thinking. Some more activities on it. So there are more examples of it. Like the first one we just did, rank things. Okay, you just give certain objects, or you can make chits of it and then tell them to rank it. For lower kids, lower class kids, this can be done. Then matching with sports and sports equipments, or identify and share your opinion. So these are all critical thinking activities which can be done. And these are the steps. If at all there's a problem, there's an issue, this can be again taken up as a quality circle program in the classroom, making a small group and telling, okay, there's a problem of your class. How are you going to solve it? So the basic steps would be, first is to identify that this is a problem. Second is, if there's a problem, now what is the solution to it? So for finding the solution, so you will collect information or data and research it, how you're going to do it. Once you get the information, then you will organize it and sort out, prioritize it, and then develop and execute the solution. The next C is talking about creativity, thinking out of the box. So you can brainstorm and look at an issue from a different perspectives. Okay, one person says that number is written which is 9, and the other person standing on the other side may feel it is 6 if it is written on the floor. So one person sees at 9, the other person sees at 6. That is one thing. How would you take this forward? For example, now look at this picture. Now, imagine you can, this same picture what I had shown you previously, any picture that you give. I've taken another picture this time. This I'll tell you, can you guess this picture is from which place? This is from India. Okay. Northeast, Jammu, Uttarakhand, Dalhousie. Somebody said Dalhousie, which is absolutely correct. This picture is from Dalhousie. Now, you can show this picture. You can ask similar questions what I had asked you earlier. That would be about critical thinking. When will it go to creativity? When the same picture, you ask a question, for example, suppose now you imagine that you live in this house, which you see over here. So what would you do? What would be your lifestyle? So once you ask this question, the students would start thinking, okay, there are mountains, there are trees, there's an open green land. So what are we going to do over there? So the creativity starts developing once they start imagining. So this is how one can, cite this picture or any picture for that matter. And then you tell the children Imagine now you are there in that particular place. Now what are you going to do? How are you going to do? And some more creativity activities could be a little creative space given, image talk. Instead of speaking, you are making an image, and through the image you are speaking it. There's another one which is called Scamper. Scamper is basically it's an acronym which stands for substitute, combine, adapt, modify, put to another use, eliminate, reverse. So basically, if there is a problem, so what will happen if you substitute A with B? What will happen if you combine A and B? What's going to happen if you adapt something in that situation, right? P, which is put to another use. Instead of this, suppose you're putting the same situation to some other place, then what's going to happen? Or if you eliminate a character, would the solution come faster? Or if you reverse, or if you reorganize this, so would it happen faster? So again, that's the way it's going to be. Wrong is right is again a topic given, and like you have it two students and give a topic, and you say that whatever the one person is going to speak, the other person has to say it is wrong. How the person is going to justify it is wrong is going to tell how creative the person is. And this is how we can develop creativity among students. These are small examples which I'm telling you. There are lots and lots of it. You cut and make, and you color it, you write and act out dialogues. Again, your plays, your dances that you do in the school, this all anyway reflects creativity. The project work, the map work, the mask making, or if you make a leaflet and you basically assign this to the children that they make it and then you float it. And there's an activity going on, and you tell the class, okay, now for this particular activity, you have to work in team and you have to make leaflets of it so that we circulate it around the school and everybody gets the information about it. So the children will be very creative to make that kind of a leaflet, which and what will be there in that leaflet. So it will involve a lot of creativity. So these are again some of the examples: solving puzzles, make a video. Now making a video has become a very common example of creativity, wherein the child can move around in his or her house making a video, which has happened, which has grown multifold during the pandemic. So you can think of more ideas which will develop the creativity skills in a child. Next is collaboration. Basically, it means work together. And work together means sharing responsibility, and you assign different roles within a group as a teacher, as an educator, and then you be flexible. So how can you be collaborative? You need to ensure that whenever there is a group activity, so the children who are in that group, they share the work. It's not that one person does, the other does not. And if the work is assigned as, and the roles are assigned for that particular work, it would go faster. It means that the child learns to share, the child learns to compromise, the child learns to adjust with the partner and then move forward. This is one activity which can be done in the classroom, wherein this is a very common one, that you find the differences between the two pictures. So this activity can be done in various ways to ensure that there is collaboration happening in the class. Number one is you divide the class in pairs, and the students look at both the pictures and they talk about the differences, and they are working in pair. So the pair which works faster, that team wins. That could be one. Then another one would be that one student is looking at the first picture, the second student is looking at the second picture, and then both of them are describing the picture. So that will not only be a collaborative activity, but will also be very communicative, because they have to make sentences now to describe that what is the difference and what is the entire scene. Similarly, you can make two groups in the class, and group A will write sentences about picture A and group B will write whatever they are seeing in picture B, and then both will be combined and they will compare that how they have written. The last I've told you that they can you can float it and ensure that who does the work first. Another activity is that a comic strip is there, and now you give it in groups. They have to fill in the dialogues. Okay, so both of them have to work together in a team to think of a storyline on this. So it will develop creativity. And also, I would like to share over here, no skill is standalone skill. In every activity, there will be an overlap of some skill or the other. It is not that a collaborative activity cannot have a communication as the skill, cannot have creativity as the skill. They will overlap. But you need to ensure that it is happening in a way where there is collaboration, there is communication, there is creativity involved. So they will imagine a story and then they will fill in the dialogues and complete this. So this is would be a collaborative activity, and then this can be shared that which team has written the best story. And some more collaborative activities could be like save the last word for me. This can be like, it is it done in pairs. The first person speaks, and once the person stops, the second person has to continue. So which means that the person has to listen very attentively when the person is speaking, and the place where the person stops, the other person continues the story from there. I hope I'm audible. I'm getting a notification that I'm not audible. Can you please write down yes if you're able to hear me? Okay. Yes. Thank you so much. Suppose during the sports class, the teacher tells the children, you take a round of the ground in 1 minute. Okay. So the children take a round, and maybe there may be children who finish that round in more than a minute or less than a minute. So every time the child finishes taking one round of the ground less than a minute, the child is told that this was wrong, you have to take complete 1 minute. So this again emphasizes how the child will be ensuring that at what pace the child has to run so that the child is able to take one complete round of the ground exactly in 1 minute. Okay. Some more examples of collaborative tasks could be the drama and the role play, which has to be definitely in collaboration. The competitive team games, I have narrated some, which has to be played as a team. Discussions, debates, again, the class can be divided into two groups. One topic can be floated and a debate can be held, wherein both the parties share it, and from one team, one representative is there, the other team, one representative is there. So that person who is going to speak, he takes the ideas from everybody in the team and then shares that. So if there's no collaboration, then that group will not be able to win. So these are certain examples which you can think of for collaborative activities in the classroom. The last C is communication. Now, communication is sharing information, expressing thoughts, opinions, listening to others through verbal, written, and not definitely multimedia messages. So, how we communicate to the others. It is very important that we find a way to communicate, and not only verbally, even non-verbal communication is there. And non-verbal at times is more powerful than the verbal communication. And communication, again, is a very, very important aspect for a student to succeed in life. The student may have best of ideas, maybe very creative, but then fails to communicate to others what the person is thinking, what is going on in his or her mind. That's the place where communication plays an important role. So we need to ensure that every student in the class is given opportunity not only to communicate, and if there are people can be shy, that's okay, but then it should not happen that they are shy to the extent that they would not like to talk to anybody, and they have shut themselves, and they are just in their own world. So that is what is a concern over here, that communication is extremely important, not only through languages. It is the feelings that a person has to be communicated, because once the person realizes how the person is feeling and is able to express it, whether it is anger or it's happiness, whatever, then the child knows that nothing stays within, it comes out, and the child is much more at peace. Therefore, it is important that communication is a pivotal skill to progress in their careers, not only in their careers, but even in their personal life. Certain examples of communication to ensure that, communication skill is developed in the students. First is guide for the blindfold. Now, class can be divided into pairs, and maybe they're outside, or maybe in the class, if you just change a little setup of the class and blindfold a child, and the partner of the child is going to give directions. Okay, the partner gives direction to the child who is blindfolded, and the child follows the direction of this person, and the one who is able to do it in least sentences is the person who is able to communicate the best possible way. So that could be one game which will develop the communication skills of a child. So, especially children who don't speak much, who are very shy, they can be made partners in such games wherein they are supposed to give directions. So they have to speak, because if they don't speak, and always, when we have a game going on in the class, the children become very competitive that they have to win this game. So it really works wonders for them. So if you have this kind of a game, so the people in the classroom who are very shy and who are very introvert, you should be making those children as partners who would be giving directions. So they have to speak, they have to say. That is one. Then There was some technical glitch. I hope I'm audible now.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So I was talking about the communication related activities that can be conducted in the class. The next one could be, feelings are important. So what the teacher can do in the classroom bulletin board, the feelings can be written in chits and can be put up in the board, and then maybe the child can be told to pick up a feeling from there. So suppose whatever is the feeling, the child picks it up, the teacher narrates that feeling, that what happens when you, for example, the child picks up an angry feeling, maybe that particular day the child was angry or upset. And so what happens when the child is angry? The teacher can share the feeling and what happens if such a feeling is there, and what should the person do and should not do to ensure that the feelings they know it, and then once they know the feelings they also understand that what is acceptable if I have this feeling and what is not acceptable even if I have this feeling. So this kind of a talk can be done in the class, and maybe students can be told to teach a topic. That is another activity to be done, wherein the communication skill of a child will develop. Once the teacher has taken the class, now the child has been called to take the class again. That is another example of communication skills that the child can develop through this. Some more examples are the information gap activities, like you give some information to the children. For example, you show a photograph of a zoo and ask them how many animals are there over there, what kind of animals are there, what is done further beyond the animals, what help is given to these animals, how do they take care of it. So some information is given, some information is lacking, and what is lacking they need to find it out. So this is one more activity which can be done. A role play wherein any role is assigned to the child and they're supposed to play it. Interviews, surveys, writing notes, messages, texts, all these are the ways in which communication skill can be developed. But 4Cs are just the beginning. 21st century skills also require students to understand the information that is around them. Okay, so 4Cs, which we basically spoke about: communication, creativity, collaboration, critical thinking. These are just the beginning. These are very important skills, but we have more to understand as far as the literacy skills are concerned, which is again a very important skill in today's 21st century. It focuses on how students can take the facts, because now a lot of information is available everywhere. So how do you take it, and how, not only how do you take the facts, basically how it is published and what is the technology behind it. There are two aspects to it. So both the child should be knowing it. For example, if it is a newspaper, so how the newspaper has come, how the news has reached their house through a newspaper, and if they're taking the information through net, so how they have got that information through net. If they've searched through Google or any of the search engines, so how are they getting it? So just knowing the basic of it, that how the information is coming to them, and not only coming to them, what they should treat it as a true information and what is misinformation also should be clear to them. So basically, the road to digital literacy is an important aspect, where a lot of online tools which are available, which the child can share, create, and even use it to inform others so that everybody learns from there. This I told you, it is represented as IMT, the literacy skills. I stands for information literacy. This is a foundational skill. It helps students understand facts, not just the facts. What are the important points over there? And what they should know is a fact and what is a fiction. What is a reality and what is a storyline in that. The difference between that should be clear to the children. M, which is media literacy. This is again a practice of identifying the publishing methods or the outlets and the sources where the information is coming from, whether the person should rely on them or they should not. So the student should be literate enough to understand that from which publishing houses or the methods which are publishing outlets which are there, the student should rely on certain publishing methods and not on the others. There is a very small thing. If you open the net and if you have, you must be seeing whenever you open a site, it is HTTPS. In some places, S is not there. So that is an issue. A very small example I just gave you. Technology literacy, again, it gives students the basic information they need to understand what gadgets perform, what tasks, and why. At a very basic level. I'm not talking about IT students at a higher level, at a basic level, because as computers and cloud programming and mobile devices, they become very important nowadays. So we need to understand how these gadgets are used and for which concepts we should be using it. So some of the literacy skills activities that can be performed in the classes to enhance these skills could be how to design a blog or a website. PPT is a very at a basic level where you give a project and you say this project has to be submitted in a PPT form, in a PowerPoint presentation. That's a very basic level. But you can think of designing a blog or a website, designing an app, for example. There is a problem and you're thinking of what ways the problem can be solved. So if we are supposed to design an app, so what should be there in that app? So children can first write it down instead of directly working on the system to show that how they are thinking on these lines. That is another way. Then know how or teach, learn, copy. The teacher is teaching them that this is how this activity, any problem which is taken up. So teacher teaches the steps in which this has to be solved. Now the child is given another situation and the child is asked to solve that in same manner. Next we go to the life skills, which are known as flips. So life skills are basically, if you see the child, the intangible elements in the student's life is huge. And we cannot forget these intangible elements which are there in the life, because this is where the personal and the professional qualities are developed. F stands for flexibility. How flexible we are if the plan changes. The leadership quality, how to motivate a team to ensure that the goal is accomplished. Initiative, whether it is starting of projects or any such plan and not waiting for others to jump into it. The person knows it's the right thing to do and just takes the initiative. Productivity, maintaining efficiency, and that also especially at a young age when there are a lot of other distractions, how does one remain productive to the task that is assigned? Social skills are very important skill which involves networking with others and not only networking, ensuring that both benefit out of it. Flexibility is an expression of someone's ability to adapt to the changing circumstances. I just cited the COVID scenario wherein everybody's flexibility was judged. How soon we were able to adapt to this new and a challenging atmosphere and how quickly we could learn and do things. And not only that, there could be another angle to it, what the students may be comfortable doing. The child has to understand that that may not be the best way to do it, and also to admit when they are wrong in doing something. Some of the flexibility related activities could be the different uses of household items, wherein the utensils of the household are used to make some music or make up a new game. The new game, which is the games which are their old games, you change some rules and now it becomes a new game. Not everybody would be comfortable if they are inflexible. So, to make the children flexible, these are some of the examples. You shuffle them in a different group. There are many more. I'm rushing through because of shortage of time now. Sorry. Next is leadership, which is an ability to lead a team and be capable of effective team management. As told by Alexander, you inspire people not by showing them how amazing you are, but by showing them how amazing they are. That's the actual leader. And the story, I'm sure many of you may be knowing that why lion is called the king of jungle. He's neither the smartest person, neither the fastest animal. The fastest animal is cheetah. He's neither the tallest one, which is the giraffe. He's neither the strongest one, which is the elephant. In spite of that, lion is always called the king of jungle. So what does lion has? Lion has got just one attribute, that is the courage to face any situation without hesitation. That's why the lion is called the king of jungle. So that's what we're looking for in our students as well. Some of the activities which can be taken is quiz can be taken, wherein the class is divided into various groups, and from each group we assign one leader. That leader decides who will give the answer. So that's one leadership trait you can find out in children. The leaders you admire most, again an activity done wherein as a class activity, children are asked which is the leader you admire, and then now once they specify somebody, then you ask them what is it that they like in that leader, and let them come up with the answers. They come up with the answers and you know you're in the right track. I stands for initiative. Now, initiation skills involve the ability to begin a task independently. It helps the child to build his or her own path of development. Now, initiation is when you know this is the right thing and you just do it. You don't wait for anybody to tell you that, for example, if there is litter in the classroom, there are wrappers thrown in the classroom, and a child picks it up. Nobody has told this child to pick it up, but the child picks it up. So it talks about initiative. And these are the things we should be emphasizing in the class. Somebody who has done that task without anybody telling them that it was the right thing to be done. Again, goal and role. You give a goal to the child and assign various roles to the class. That you have to achieve this goal by the end of this period. And this is your role in this activity. And to ensure that everybody follows this and they follow their role to accomplish this goal. Some more activities are written over here. I am skipping this for the time being. Productivity is an ability to complete work in an appropriate amount of time. Any work which is assigned, we have a set time for it. And to ensure that we are able to complete that work within that set time defines how productive we are. So, understanding productivity strategies at every level, students discover the ways in which they work best while gaining appreciation for how others work as well. Some more activities related to productivity: ask and listen. An activity where a task is assigned and one child is asking and then he has to listen to it and then respond. So this will enhance their productivity in the sense that only if they listen to the child, they will be able to respond to the next question. Research project is another way in which we gauge their productivity skills. Any project which is given and which requires research to be done at their end, only if research is done in a substantial manner will they be able to do justice to the project. The last skill is social skills. Now, the students possess a wide range of social skills, right? Some may be socially adept than others. Some are, very outspoken. They will make friends very fast. And some may be very, very introvert, having very limited friends. And when it comes to going to parties, some of them may socialize very fast. And once they go to the party, they get more energized. And there may be another group who feels that once they go to the party and they will talk to people, it's a big problem for them and they would like to be in isolation. So, what is it? The child first has to understand their own qualities as a person and how they have to improve upon them. So, this is what is important in today's skills which the child should be having. Social skills can be developed through activities related to relay culture. You define the culture of a particular place and then you portray that culture of a different locality. What is the culture in the classroom? So the child learns that maybe if a child is coming from a tribal area, so what is the culture over there? So once the child is aware of that culture and has to now reciprocate in that culture, will be more compassionate towards the people residing in that area and will understand them better. So I have already told this. So the principles of 21st century skills: information, communication skills, thinking, problem solving, interpersonal, self-directional. All we have tried to cover it up in this 12 main skills which can be termed as 21st century skills. Because talent one may have naturally. Skill is only developed by hours and hours and hours of beating on your craft. There is no such skill which we cannot develop if we go on practicing. Because remember, the illiterates of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read or write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. Thank you so very much. This, I come to the end of my session.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so very much. And thank you all the participants over here, because I was seeing a lot of feedback coming during my session. I did not have time to respond to it, but I really would like to thank each and everyone who was present here, who have taken away even one thing from the session today, That would be really awesome. Thank you so very much.